extension and community engagement roles. She helped collect data for research projects, had hands-on roles within family-based grazing businesses, and was a member of the North Queensland Beef Research Committee. Preferring to operate from a place a little off the centre line, Jane will be presenting with Joanne Craig from Mistake Creek Station. Together, they will share the importance of seeing with new eyes and committing to a higher standard of business management to counter today's challenging economic environment.
Thanks very much, Robin. Every day your business is giving you signals on where to focus attention. Now, if you're not in business, please feel free to substitute career throughout this presentation. The focus of my presentation today with Joanne is how the Business Management Advisory Project is helping to evolve Indigenous pastoral businesses in the Central Land Council region. It'll be evolving to something better as opposed to changing to something different that will aid in business longevity. To evolve to a better place requires a commitment to a higher standard of business management. The path to a better place is never easy, and it will be commitment that will get you past, through, or over these roadblocks. No commitment will mean staying in the same pool, so why not take a leap of faith to a better place? A higher standard of business management requires moving from data collection and recording to actually producing quality information that can be used in decision-making to achieve both business and personal goals. A higher standard of business management requires you to look with new eyes at this information to be able to drive the action to achieve these business and personal goals. So what are your eyes seeing? Are you continually doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? Or do you have new eyes, scanning familiar landscapes for opportunities, noticing the signals on where to focus your attention? The Indigenous Pastoral Program, which I could refer to as the IPP because I'm a bit slack with my words at times, has been established since 2003 with the objective to develop viable Indigenous pastoral businesses that improve the socio-economic standard and livelihoods of Indigenous people. The program is a strategic collaboration between the Northern and Central Land Councils, the Northern Territory Departments of Education, Primary Industry and Fisheries, the Northern Territory Cattlemen's Association, the Australian Government Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, and the Indigenous Land Corporation. Up until March 2014, investment and activity associated with the Indigenous Pastoral Program has been concentrated on land management activities and infrastructure development. In excess of $11 million has been invested to upgrade existing infrastructure and to bring into production an additional 24,000 square kilometres of pastoral land. This investment will aim to increase the carrying capacity on Indigenous held land by approximately 100,000 head of cattle. Natural resource audits using scientific assessments were used as the base for planning new infrastructure to ensure that the environmental qualities of the area were not compromised by the introduction of cattle. Rangeland management strategies like spelling and adjusting stocking rate have been incorporated into production systems so that grazing practices utilised will not significantly impact perennial plant species or cause a loss of soil quality or quantity. Over the same period, the North Australian pastoral industry has experienced low profitability, and the majority of northern beef producers, as we've heard earlier from Phil, were not economically sustainable. Factors that have been potentially negatively impact economic sustainability, if not managed well, include rising input costs, unstable markets, falling herd productivity, and variable climate. Indigenous pastoral businesses face these challenges, along with managing community aspirations connected to country. Conscious of the declining profitability and sustainability of the northern beef industry, the IPP partners and business managers actively sought solutions to the challenges facing these businesses. And in 2012, the IPP commenced the development of the Business Management Advisory Project and implemented a pilot project in March 2014. BMAP supports businesses to generate a return from the capital that exceeds the cost of managing and improving a pastoral business by building capacity of Indigenous pastoral managers to manage risk and make decisions that improve both business professionalism and profitability. Ensuring the long-term economic and environmental sustainability of Indigenous pastoral businesses by adopting the professional management model. And finally, protecting the significant external investment that's been made into these Indigenous pastoral businesses. In total, there are 5 businesses involved with the BMAP project across the Northern Territory. Members from the Indigenous pastoral industry are a part of the delivery team to ensure the project maintains relevance and delivers on-country results. Representatives from the agribusiness firm Resource Consulting Service, Department of Primary Industries and Fisheries, and the Central Land Council complete the delivery team for the Central Land Council region. And in the Northern Land Council region, the delivery team consists of representatives from Bush Agribusiness and the Northern Land Council. The ILC has a management role in the project. To gain a further understanding of the BMAP project and what it means to managers of Indigenous pastoral businesses, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Joanne Craig to the stage. I need a buddy. Joanne's based from Mistake Creek. And I'm really honoured to be able to have her come and share her thoughts and experiences from the project. Hi there. So Joanne, oh, we've gone too far. Okay, so can you share to me a little bit about Mistake Creek? Where are you based and cattle and what's going on?
We're about 237 kilometres southeast of Kununurra, and we're about 650 kilometres southwest of Katherine. So we're right on the Northern Territory Western Australian border.
Okay, so when you first went to Mistake Creek, it wouldn't have looked like this picture here, would it?
No, it was just because the government had it before Gary Dan bought it. Oh, not that that's a bad thing, but it was just all demandables under no cover.
Okay, how many cattle were there when you first started at Mistake?
8,000 head.
Okay, how many have you got running there now?
I think it's about 28,000.
Yeah, okay. And so how long have you been a part of the Indigenous Pastoral Program?
Mistake Creek's been a part of it for about 12 months now.
Okay, so why did you join the program?
Mainly it was Steve, because he wanted to support other Indigenous properties that were just opening up.
Okay, yeah. So before BMAP came along, what did you think about the future?
We didn't.
Okay.
We didn't think about the future at all. It was just about breeding and selling cattle.
Yep. Okay. So think back to the first time when you heard about this BMAP project. What did you think or feel about the project?
It was just another project, that it wasn't going to go anywhere. We were quite happy with what we were working with or how we were working. It was mainly me, because I had a lot of negative points, and I was convincing myself of those negative points that it wasn't going to work. I thought Stephen Weeby, or Weeby is our son, that they can handle these people. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I was happy just to go along with what we had.
Yeah. No, thank you. So describe to me that BMAP visit. There was a plane load of us turned up at Mistake Creek, and we launched into a bit of stuff. So what did you reckon?
Intimidating,
Yeah.
full on, and all those negative points came back, and that BMAP was going to change the world, but they weren't going to change my world.
Hold that thought. So Joe, talk to me about some of the things that we discussed when we had that visit.
It was working in the business, working on the business, understanding budgets, increasing our profit, decreasing our overheads, increasing our gross margins, and increasing our turnover, the number of head that we had.
So if we were to look at the professional management model that we've got up here, would it be fair to say that before BMAP you guys would have been just working down here in this production system, and that you thought if you kept working harder and longer and tougher that you'd get eventually business improvement and it would lead into eventually life improvement? That was before me coming along to annoy you?
Before you, it was just production systems,
Yeah,
that's all, nothing else.
Okay. So after we came along, had a bit of a visit, we talked about the production system and the data that you guys collect, and then we started to talk about meaningful information and how that could lead into decisions, goals and directions, and how this professional management can actually get both business and life improvement. That is. So if we were to look at an example of what we did at Mistake, do you want to talk to these guys about how you used to record cattle numbers and our new system?
How we used to do it before was that we'd bring the cattle in and we'd spend a whole day or day and a half doing the tallies and not getting anywhere, then running the cattle back through the yard again to do the branding and drafting and compared to now, to this sheet here, where it's just, they do the tally on the run out.
Counting cattle out of the yards?
Yeah, and we probably only have, before we probably had the cattle in the yard for probably about a week, I think, and then now we're down to about 3 days, 4 days at the most.
Yesterday on the field trip out to Old Man Plains, we heard that potentially some of the productivity issues that we've got are actually because we're holding cattle in yards for too long. So can you imagine the productivity improvements from going from holding cattle in hand for over a week to now only being down to a couple of days? There it is. Jo, when we now, we take this information, oh my goodness, it's gone that fast. So now, when we take this information and we put it into your summary sheet, how long does it take you to go from when you get that sheet of paper to this new system of recording cattle?
Probably about half an hour if I don't get any interruptions.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say that you actually had a look at the way you recorded your cattle numbers with some new eyes and you made a commitment to a higher standard, that it's had a positive result in your business?
Yeah, we've looked at it with new eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that half an hour extra in the office has had a huge difference?
Yes.
Yeah. So sharing information?
Well, now we as a team, we involve our staff members a lot more. Steve doesn't keep everything in his head anymore.
That was your challenge, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the biggest challenge. And he's actually handed over the assistant manager's role to our son, Weeby, who's about 32 now. Yeah. And we're gone into leasing another Aboriginal-owned property, just 400 kilometres northeast of here, and our daughter actually oversees that place.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yes.
That is. So how do you feel about the future now, Jo?
We have a better understanding of our business.
Yeah.
A way better understanding of it.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Wow, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your experiences. It's been an honour working with you and the rest of the managers in this project. I only got a couple of minutes. Can you stay here while I wrap up?
Yeah, probably could.
Oh, excellent. So from this spreadsheet, just quickly, it now gets all basically automatically feeds through into a yearly summary, and this is some of the information that that Jo and Steve and Weeby and Lindsay all share now amongst one another. We can then go on and do some benchmarking, and that's being able to see the signals that I talked about earlier and to be able to focus the attention on where your business needs to start to work. So a common theme from the stock and cash flow analysis on all the participating properties is the need to decrease overheads and improve herd productivity, and it's been a common theme in this afternoon's presentations. As highlighted by Joanne, that there are 3 key practice changes occurring within these businesses since the involvement of BMAP, and they are data collection and analysis, reporting, particularly in the area of livestock and financial, improving the communication between the boards, managers and staff. We didn't talk about boards, whoops. Treating the property like a business and spending time doing strategic planning. These properties are Indigenous owned and operated. I really want to make that clear. There it is. So the critical factors have enabled these businesses to implement the necessary practice changes have been the combination of training in groups and to individuals, accountability and one-on-one support offered by the BMAP team. As the pilot project moves into its final stages, it's become evident that the boards of the Indigenous pastoral businesses need to be involved, particularly with emphasis on governance and separation of roles. Furthermore, the delivery team has identified an additional on-property support as managers implement these key practice changes. Strong and healthy Indigenous pastoral businesses can help provide the foundation for community aspirations. The Indigenous Pastoral Program has delivered significant results on Indigenous held land to date, and BMAP has the ability, through improving professionalism and profitability, to be able to create important outcomes for Indigenous people. It's going to be new eyes actively looking for the signals in familiar landscapes and the commitment to a higher standard of business management, which will drive the evolution to an improved business position for these Indigenous pastoral businesses. It'll also do the same for your business or your career. So why not take a leap of faith like Joanne and the other managers involved in BMAP and have a look at your business or career with new eyes and a commitment to a higher standard of management? If not for your business or career, do it for the rangelands. Thank you.